Welcome to the Lightbulb Podcast, coming to you from Guernsey in the Channel Islands. This is episode 53, SEO for Complete Beginners with Nanouk Van Gennip. Hello and welcome to the Lightbulb Podcast. It's Martine here and I have a guest on the show today. I'm joined by, and I'm going to pronounce her name incorrectly, Nanouk Van Gennip. Today we're talking about search engine optimization. Hello Nanouk.
Hi Martine.
So good to have you here. Can you sort out my pronunciation of your surname?
Yes, sure. It's Nanouk Van Gennip.
I love that G. That's brilliant. So your name's Dutch, is that right?
Yeah, very Dutch.
And
yes.
where are you in the world today? Where are you calling from?
Switzerland.
From Switzerland. You know, I've never been to Switzerland. I've always wanted to go though.
It's beautiful. You should go.
Definitely. I'll put it on the list. So today we're talking about SEO, search engine optimization. But before we do, Nanouk, can you tell me a bit about you and your business?
Yes. Well, I have a business together with my husband. He's a web developer and I am an SEO copywriter. First we worked separately, but then we decided to combine our forces. And so we turned it into a business. And we're doing fine. We're doing really great.
That's brilliant. Yes. Working in partnership with your husband, fantastic. Mm-hmm. And so you're an SEO expert. Now, let's pretend for a moment I don't know anything about SEO at all. Can you tell me in the simplest terms, what is SEO?
Yes, I can. SEO is a term that contains all the techniques to optimize your website, to rank high in Google. Or search engines in general, but Google. So if you want your customers to find your website, you need to optimize your website for Google so they can find you on the most relevant keywords.
And this is so important because when people are starting a brand new business, some people might think, oh, well, I'll put together a website and then people will just find it. You know, I'm just going to build it and people will find it. It's not quite as simple as that, is it?
No, not anymore. No, maybe in the beginning of the internet, but not anymore. There are billions, trillions of websites online. So you really need to work for it.
Yeah, so by using keywords and other strategies and things like that, you can make yourself more visible. And that's what we're talking about when we talk about SEO. Excellent. So can you recommend some quick actions or quick tips that bloggers and business owners can do to optimize their websites?
Yes, but before we dive into SEO, there is one thing I always recommend customers and clients, if they want to do a little bit of SEO on their own, is to write for your customers. Those are your people and not Google. So first start writing for your audience and then for Google, not the other way around.
That's such a good tip. And actually, I've done a blog post called, it relates to finding your ideal customer avatar. So if you're going to be writing for your customer rather than writing for Google, you need to know exactly who your customer is. I'll make sure I link to that post in the show notes because I think it's a really important process to go through with anyone starting a business. Who
Definitely.
Precisely is your ideal customer, and give them a name and an occupation and whether they've got children.
Make up a story.
Yeah, exactly. That's such good advice. Make up a story about your ideal customer and then you can be writing for them before you start thinking about Google. I think that's a really good tip.
When I was preparing this podcast, I was thinking about a person I know who from my surroundings who is in starting a new business and making a new website. And I was thinking, okay, what kind of advice would I give her? So I had my avatar who was a real person and it helped me with focusing. And it's the same with Google because you want to know which keywords your audience uses when they enter Google, when they have a problem or a question. You want to know which keywords do they enter into Google to find their answer. And then your website will provide that answer and pop up in the top 3 of Google, in theory.
In theory, I love it.
Yeah.
So you used the term keywords there, and I think that's something that can confuse people sometimes. But just to clarify them from what you're saying, keywords are words that people, if they were looking for some information, they'd go into Google and they would type something, and what they type into the search engine, those are the keywords that we're talking about.
Exactly. Yes.
That makes complete sense.
And it can be one word, like Switzerland, but it can also be a whole sentence. What to do in Switzerland this summer, for example.
Yes. And so your keywords there are going to be things like summer, Switzerland, to do, those sorts of things. Is that right?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Brilliant. So from what you're saying then, if you know who your ideal customer is and you're writing for them, would it not be okay just to put loads of keywords in your text and then hope for the best? Is that the right thing to do?
That could be a strategy, but then it will take maybe years before you will rank high in Google.
Okay, so it sounds like there's some other strategies that we can do in order to rank as high as possible in Google. What sort of other things would you recommend?
Well, first, I advise you to target long-tail keywords. You might have heard the phrase long-tail, and those are keywords with relatively less search volume. Most often, they have only little competition, and it's therefore easy to rank high.
That's interesting. So these are words that aren't necessarily searched for regularly, but when they are searched for, if you're using them, you will rank highly. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. And even though the search volume is less, it's better to rank for those because you can rank for them. And short tails, those are keywords with high volumes, but they are also highly competitive most often. So, for example, if you sell knitting supplies, you can try to rank high for knitting needle, but it's a short tail with high search volumes, but also with high competition. So well-established websites own the first page in Google, and it's very difficult to beat those. But keywords, long-tail keywords like best knitting needle or knitting needles for beginners or best knitting needles to use, those are long tails with less search volume, but only little competition. So, and therefore better to rank for.
That makes complete sense. And actually what you said about thinking about your customer really comes into play here, doesn't it? Because the person who's doing the searching, if you're thinking about the exact words they're going to use, you can then hit those long tail keywords. That makes lots of sense. Do you know, until this discussion, Nanouk, I had no idea about the difference between short tail and long tail, although I have heard it said several times. So this is great. Keep the knowledge bombs going. I love that.
That's okay. Yeah.
So what else can I do as a person wanting to really boost my SEO?
Well, once you have those keywords, you can analyze them with an SEO tool. I would recommend Key Search. I'm not a sponsor of something, but it's very easy to use and relatively cheap. So that's why I recommend it. So once you have those keywords, you should optimize your blog post and landing pages by putting those keywords on the most important places, like your title, the introduction, and in at least one subheading. I don't know. Maybe you've heard of the phrase meta description.
Yes, meta description. Yeah.
Yeah, meta description. Well, you know when you type something in Google and you get the search results, you see the title, the meta title, and a little description underneath it. Well, most often you can influence what's visible there, and if you put in your most important keywords, then people know, okay, this blog post or this website is about the topic that I want to know more about.
Brilliant. So once you've identified your long tail keywords, if you can include that in the meta description as well as in the other important places you mentioned, then that's going to maximize your chances. That makes complete sense.
Yes. But there's more. Of course, there's more.
Brilliant.
Because you should not do the keyword stuffing kind of thing.
Okay, so what do you mean by keyword stuffing?
It means like that putting your keywords like 100 times in a blog post or in a page. That doesn't work.
Right.
Once or maybe twice is enough, and then use related keywords. So synonyms, for example, because Google has an advanced algorithm and is smart. Okay, not like a human smart, but like a robot smart.
Yeah.
And Google understands synonyms and related words.
So in the same vein, Google is also going to notice if you are doing keyword stuffing, and they're going to ignore that post. Right.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. What else can we do, Nanouk?
Well, it's linked to write for your audience, that you should write comprehensive blog posts. So with a lot of information. In recent years, it was sometimes said that you should write for online short and snappy blog posts, because people don't have a lot of time, and so they're in a hurry and they only want to read short websites, short texts. That's not true anymore. Google and your audience, they want answers. So if you can provide your audience with an answer they're looking for, then it doesn't matter if it's in 100 words or in 8,000 words.
So the length of your blog post, for example, isn't important. What is important is it that you are providing value and answers to questions.
Exactly. Yes.
And I'm sure that's related to the fact that there is just so much content out there now.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
In order to, whether it's about SEO or not, in order just to distinguish yourself from the other people around you who are doing something similar, you need to do the answers, do the value. That does make sense. Yeah. You want people to go to your blog post and then leave knowing all the answers they are looking for, not going back to Google and type in another search term because they have now more questions after reading your blog post. So that's why my advice to be comprehensive. So comprehensive blog posts are definitely what you need to be doing. Yes. And I suppose, and correct me if I'm wrong, if somebody finds your comprehensive blog post, reads it and doesn't have to go anywhere else to find the answers, then that will raise the ranking, and then more and more people will be reading that one single blog post, and all of that contributes to getting it to the top.
The algorithm of Google is smart. So Google knows when people just stay on your blog post for a long time, and then after that just go on, do something else on the internet or doing something offline. So it's called bounce rate, and a low bounce rate is very good. Yeah.
Right. And I have to say, if I'm looking for an answer to a question and I find that perfect blog post and it's long and it's got loads of detail, the first thing I do is share it on my Twitter and my Facebook. And I guess all of that helps as well to bring the traffic in.
Absolutely. Yes. Social shares help as well. It's one of the many ranking factors Google uses to decide which websites to put on the first search engine results page.
So in order to maximize that situation, I guess it's important to make sure your posts are easy to share.
Yes, easy share. Yeah, you should definitely put share buttons on your website.
Oh, we got some excellent tips there. Is there anything else that we can do, Nanouk?
But it's more technical.
Go for it.
But don't be afraid, because it can be very easy. You should fix your site speed. You know, when you enter a website and it took ages before it's fully loaded, you will leave after a few seconds. Well, that's going to happen with your website if it's very slow. So you not only lose potential customers, but also Google uses your site speed as a ranking factor.
Right. This is really important.
Yeah. But there's a very handy tool. It's called a website, gtmetrics.com. And you can enter your domain name, your URL, and then you will get a list of recommendations. It's free to improve your site speed. So just go there, put in your website, and just see which recommendations you get, and then just start working on it.
I'll make sure there's a link to that page in the show notes as well, Nanouk, so people can have a look at that. I think Google have also got a page speed analyzer as well, because I've certainly used that in the past, but I'll definitely be having a look at this other one. Is there anything else that you would like to recommend to the listeners of the podcast for SEO purposes?
Absolutely. Did you ever heard of the phrase link building?
Link building? Yes, I think I have. What does it mean?
Okay. Well, link building is a strategy to collect backlinks. So other websites linking to your website. And it's a signal to Google that your website contains valuable information.
Right.
So
okay.
The more backlinks of high quality, the better.
So, for example, if you were to, on your website, put a link to this podcast episode on my website, that would be a backlink, wouldn't it?
That will be a backlink, exactly.
Excellent.
Yes.
And then if all of your friends were so excited that you were on a podcast, they put links to the podcast on their websites as well. That would again be more and more backlinks.
Absolutely. And that's good. That's good signal to Google. It's even been said that it's the most important factor Google uses to decide which website to put on number one in Google. So link building is important. And
I wonder how you go about link building. Do you just email people and ask them to link to you? What would be the best thing to do?
That is one strategy, and but it's not for everyone. Just going around asking people for links. I think you should just stay with a few strategies. For once, write very good blog posts, because when you offer the best information that's out there, then people will find you in the end and link back to your website. But before people find you, you need to do something else. Another strategy, for example, is to guest post. It's a very good strategy to get backlinks and to increase your audience.
I think guest blog posting is a great strategy, not only for SEO, but for all sorts of other things as well.
Exactly. So it's a win-win. You have like
absolutely. It's quite a time-consuming thing to do.
But blogging in general is.
Yes, it definitely is that. But like you say, a great strategy for SEO and for just generally getting your name out there. So if you can find opportunities to guest blog post, preferably with websites that are, way more popular than your own, then go for it.
Exactly. You should look for authority websites in your niche. Like the websites that are on in the top 3 of Google in your niche, you should go out and ask them if you can write a guest post for them.
And you've just got to be confident and not worry about the fact that what's the worst that can happen? They might say no.
They can say no.
Exactly, and that's not really a big deal, is it?
No, it's not. No, because maybe they don't do guest posting, or maybe they think you are a too small blog. But that's okay, because in a few months you're bigger, and then you can just ask again, and maybe they say yes.
And if you're nice and approachable and friendly in your sort of email that you pitch to them with, then they'll be nice back, I'm certain.
Yeah, exactly. In your pitch, you should just give some examples about topics you could discuss in your guest post, and you should really make it. You should emphasize the benefits you can offer for the website you want to guest post on and their audience. And if you do that in a very friendly way. And they will say yes.
And it's not so much the size of your audience that's as important. It's about whether your audience are really, really engaged with you. If you've got a small audience that listen to everything you've got to say and share it, and as opposed to a massive audience who aren't that engaged, that's more important to have that engagement.
Yeah, it's quality over quantity.
Definitely.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else, Nanouk? We've gone through some amazing, amazing tips there. Have you got anything else for us?
Well, we just discussed guest posting, and I think a lot of bloggers and website owners, they find it very challenging to find the time to write blog posts, to guest posting, and and in the meanwhile run their business. So I think that in managing your time, you should stop making an unrealistic planning with, for example, wanting to publish 2 or 3 posts per week or something. Just slow down, and if you can only write 3 or 4 posts per month, make it 2 for your own blog and 2 guest posts, for example.
That's a great strategy.
I think in the long run, that works better than writing 4 only for your own website.
Great tip. I've just written a little note to myself. Reach out to some blogs and do some guest posting. Because I've done guest posting in the past, but to be honest, I haven't done it for ages. I've been really concentrating on building up the content on my own blog. And
that's good. But many bloggers and website owners have the tendency to just go on and on and on. But you already have so much valuable information on your website. You should then go back to old posts, update them, and publish. That takes less time than writing new ones, and then put some more time in guest posting.
I'm so doing that. I've written myself a note to go ahead and do that. God, I love doing this podcast. I get all this excellent advice. I'm going to do some updating of old posts and make sure that I'm pushing those out to my social media platforms, and then think about who I'd like to talk to about about guest blog posting. That's a great suggestion. Nanouk, thank you so much for such amazing information. It's so useful both to my listeners and to me as well, because I've got a to-do list now of things I have to do. So thank you for your time. Tell me, where can people find you online?
I have 2 Dutch websites, so maybe that's not so relevant for your audience, but I do have an English blog. It's called digitalnomadwithkids.com.
Amazing. Digital Nomad with Kids.
Yes. It's about traveling full-time with kids and living a location-independent lifestyle.
Lovely. So, I will make sure there is a link to that on the show notes for anybody who's listening. Thank you, Nanouk. It's been great. Love having you on the show, and you're welcome back anytime.
Thanks for having me. Yes.